Hey guys, so basically I just wanted to make a personal kind of video today. I feel like this video is just going to be all over the place because this video is very, very personal and it's something that I've never talked about on this channel before, and I really haven't talked in depth about to anybody aside from my counselor. I guess I also wanted to make this video because if any of you are struggling with anything or going through anything, this might help you as well. If you're not interested in mental health kind of videos or personal advice videos, then this video is not for you. But for those of you who are interested, welcome. Let's get into the video. Oh my gosh, this is gonna feel a lot like therapy for some reason. Again, this is really personal, so some of these things are gonna be really hard to talk about. Okay, so some of you probably already know from my past videos that I've kind of struggled with anxiety most of my life, but I didn't know it was anxiety. Like, I didn't know I was actually struggling with something until I got the help I needed and went to counseling and therapy. When I was younger, I didn't know there was such a thing called anxiety. But until I found out what I was feeling was anxiety and not just stress, that's when things started to like make sense for me. And that's when I got the help that I needed. Currently, I see a cognitive behavioral therapist. The reason why I switched from school counseling to seeing a therapist is because school counselors are great, but they only help with the surface level stuff. Like, it's talk therapy, basically. You just talk back and forth about your day, which is very helpful. If you need that, totally go get it. I decided to see a therapist because they don't just reach surface level stuff, they actually get into more detail, like really in-depth about yourself. Like, it just reaches a deeper level of understanding. A cognitive behavioral therapist really helps with how to react to things and how to think about things differently, which really helps with anxiety, by the way. A lot of what has to do with anxiety is like how you perceive things, how you think of things, how you react to things. And if you can see it in a different way, it really helps. So that's what I'm getting help with currently. The weird thing about anxiety or depression sometimes is that you don't know why you feel a certain way sometimes. It almost just is. Like, sometimes things aren't externally caused. Sometimes they're internally caused. It doesn't have to take somebody else or something to make you feel that way. It can just be yourself and your brain that makes you feel that way. So like, for example, somebody saying something or doing something, that would be externally caused. But if no one actually said or did anything to me to like make me feel a certain way or trigger a certain emotion, it's just me who's making myself feel a certain way, that's internally caused, and it's just way more shitty because you don't know how to identify it and you don't know how to avoid it or help it because it's yourself. So the whole point of cognitive behavioral therapy is to like kind of train or reprogram that bad tape in your head. So basically all last year and last fall, that was my roughest point. I don't know if school had to do with it, moving to a different campus or readjusting to a certain environment, that could have triggered it. I'm pretty sure that had a lot to do with it. That was the first time in my life where I started to experience panic attacks. And it's weird because before that, I like never got them at all. So it was really scary to me. And I just started to feel so much different, like in a very negative way. Like, I can't even describe how I felt because it's very specific. It was the feeling where I knew I needed help. It was the feeling where I picked up the phone and I called the counseling center. It was that type of feeling. Like, I knew I had to get help and call somebody and talk to somebody. And I feel like if I never got that counseling, I would spiral into an even worse place. So that's why it's very important to get the help that you need, because even if it's just talking to somebody, it really helps. So I got counseling for the fall semester and I did not continue it in spring semester, but then I went back to it last fall of 2018. That's also the thing with anxiety, depression, etc. You can end up relapsing. I know that's usually a term to reference like alcohol or food or something, but no, it happens in this circumstance too. Like you can go to counseling and feel better for months, and then just randomly out of the blue you can go like back down and just feel the way you did before. But that is why I'm in therapy now, because I'm actually learning now how to deal with these kind of thoughts and feelings when they come up. Like, I know I can't prevent a panic attack, I know I can't stop a panic attack from happening, but I have my tools. They call it a mental EpiPen, in a sense. I know I have what I need to get out of that headspace and to help myself. Like, the first day I came onto campus, I already felt really weird. It wasn't like I felt like shit. I just felt like something was wrong, something was bad, I shouldn't be there. I just like felt it in my stomach. Like, it's hard to explain. Like with anxiety, it's very mentally exhausting and mentally draining, but you also feel physical symptoms of anxiety as well. It can make you feel sick. Because anxiety isn't just like, oh, I'm nervous for a test tomorrow, because that's like normal, you know? That's like stress and nerves. Like anxiety isn't just stress. When you feel like it starts taking over your life and you feel like you can't do regular everyday activities, that's when you know you need help and there might be an underlying problem there. I don't want to make myself seem like the type of person to burden my friends with how I feel. Like, you're not supposed to treat your friends like a therapist. Like, yes, your friends are your friends and they're there for you. They're there to listen and help you. That's what friends are for. But you don't want to be that type of person who is always using your friends as a therapist, because sometimes that can push them away, and that's just the honest truth. And I have learned that over these past couple years. I think I used to use my friends kind of like that, and I felt really bad. I now respect my friends' time and space, and I know when too much is too much. So on September 26th, I said, I'm also having a hard time and just need a hug. I'm sorry if you're busy though. So I'm really trying to remember this specific day when I sent that. I'm trying to remember my headspace or what I was doing, where I was at. I can't remember much detail, but from the bits and pieces I can remember, I think this was a day when everything just kept building up and building up from like the beginning of the week till then. And I think all I wanted to do was to just talk to somebody or hang out with somebody. Like, maybe this was a day where I just felt really lonely or something. I really don't remember. But like I said in the text, like, I just really wanted to hang out with somebody or talk to the person. I'm not sure if they were around. And I think my initial reaction was to just feel sad. So like, before I even wrote that text, I already felt sad or in a bad state of mind. But I think the fact that nothing was resolved from me typing that, I felt even worse afterwards. Sometimes your friends can't solve what you feel. And if things don't necessarily go your way, it can backfire. Because like how I dealt with things in the past was like, if I texted somebody something and they said, oh, like I can't hang out today, or they didn't respond in the way I want them to, I would take it personally. I would take it so personally to the point where I would feel upset not only at the person, but at myself. Most people might just brush it off and they'll be like, okay, maybe next time. But I would ignore the person and I would isolate myself. Like, basically, my thought process was very irrational and I could have prevented a lot of what I felt if I just gave it a minute and thought about it differently. So current me is looking back at this, saying this could have been prevented. The next set of text messages, I said, where should I go if I feel nothing and want to feel something? Party? Now, that text message right there is already a huge red flag. I remember this day very specifically. Like, I remember this day in full detail, and I wish I did not remember it because it was really bad. I felt so low to the point where I felt nothing. And I had no regard for myself. I didn't care about myself. It was to the point where that text was me crying out for help. Sorry if that sounds dramatic, but it was literally a cry for help. Like, what should I do to feel something? I don't feel anything right now. I was alone. Like, I didn't care what happened to me. I would be like walking down the street in the dark. My mind process was literally like, I don't care if somebody like takes me or like brings me somewhere. Like, I would have sex with anybody. I will go to any party and get fucked up. I wanted to drink so much. I wanted to smoke. I wanted to do drugs. Like, I wanted to do all these things because the way I felt, like the pain I felt, I wanted to do anything to not feel that. I didn't care what happened to me because I didn't care about myself. There would be multiple nights where I would walk down the streets in the dark when it was raining. I didn't even tell anybody where I was going. I didn't care. Like, why would I care if anybody knows where I am if I don't even care about myself? So then I continue on after my friend responds, and I said, I'm having irrational thoughts. Sorry if I'm bothering because you have homework. I don't want to be dramatic. I thought every text I sent, I was annoying somebody. Like the person who I was talking to clearly cares and they're a friend, but my mind kept telling me, they don't care. They're not your friend. You're bothering them. You're annoying them, stop texting them. And that's what anxiety can do to you. It can lie to you and it can make you feel like the people in your life don't care, or you're annoying them, or you're a burden, you're pushing them away. And your anxiety makes you think things that might not actually be true, but you end up believing them. And because you end up believing them, you end up actually pushing people away. Sometimes. Mind you, this whole time I'm texting, I'm just walking down the street at night, not even caring about myself. So my friend responds, and then I say, I don't know, like, I just want to be normal and not have thoughts about hurting myself. Now, this text message is really triggering, and it really got me because the fact that I even mentioning wanting to hurt myself, that's something that I thought I would never say. I'm so sorry, like, I hate being emotional. Alright, I'm gonna try to stop crying. Like, the fact that I even said I want to be normal as if I wasn't normal. Like, I literally thought that I just wasn't normal. And for some reason, my brain thought that the only conclusion was to want to hurt myself or something. And not to be dramatic, but if I'm being honest, I did. Like, not only did I say I want to hurt myself, but I did. I mean, like, it was nothing major. Like, I'm still here. I'm fine currently. Just to reassure you, you know, it is what it is, and that's what happened. So then my friend responded again, told him, I just feel numb and alone. And I said, could I sit at your place for a little? I won't be long. What I can say about myself, like what I really do admire about myself, at least, is like I'm willing to be open with people and like I'm honest with people. Like, if I just bottled everything up of like how I felt, if I never told my friend like how I felt, I would be just like stuck with those feelings and like how I felt and stuff. All those things of like how I felt inside would just stay inside, and I would have never gotten help, and something maybe really bad could have happened because of that. So I'm just really happy that I spoke up and I actually was honest and told my friend like, hey, I feel numb, I feel alone, like I feel these things. And I'm just glad that I do have people in my life who do care, and now I realize that. In the past, I didn't think anybody cared. I even told one of my friends that like, I don't think anybody would care if I left this college. Like, I wanted to leave this college because I felt like nobody would care. And it was to the point where like, I even had thoughts about just wanting to end it. I know that sounds like so dramatic nowadays because like everybody's like, oh, I want to kill myself, I want to die, like I'm so depressed and stuff. It's like, I know like everybody says that kind of stuff, but like when you actually feel that way, it's totally different, because I actually felt those things. Even to this day, like I said, I am in a better place now, but there are some days where like my mind just goes to thoughts of not wanting to be here. And I think what I realized is, even though I have thoughts about not wanting to be here sometimes, and when I say here, I mean life, I think the real me knows that deep down, I do not want to die. Like, I want to live, but I want to just, like, be happy, be okay, and not feel pain, and not feel what I felt before. I think people who have thoughts about like not wanting to be here. They just mean like they just want to feel okay. Because if you feel okay and you feel happy, you don't want to die. I don't know if that even makes sense. I hate crying, I hate being dramatic. No offense, but I literally feel like Trisha Paytas right now, or Laura Lee. Like, I'm not trying to make this like an attention-seeking, I'm crying on the bathroom floor kind of video. Like, I'm not trying to be that person. It's just when I talk about these things and think about these things, like, it does trigger that kind of emotion in me and I get upset. But going back to the text message conversation, it did end well. I went to my friends and I hung out there for a little bit, and I will admit that I felt better after that, because I think being with somebody and talking with somebody, like just having someone in your presence, like that really helps, and that's exactly what I needed. I said, anything I said or did last night, I'm so sorry. Like, it wasn't me in a sense because of my headspace. I don't want to put you through that again, because you shouldn't have to feel like you're responsible if I'm alright. But I also just want to say thank you as well for helping me too. But just please don't see me any different. Like, it felt weird talking to you today because I kept thinking of the way I was. Sorry for the long message, but I had to say it. I'm still me. And I really like what I put at the end of that message. I said, I'm still me. And that's something very important to remind myself, but also you guys. No matter what you guys are going through, even if that is a mental illness or just whatever, like, you aren't your mental illness, you aren't your disorder, you aren't this label, and you shouldn't let that control your life. You might have a certain episode or panic attack, and your mind will try to convince you that you're weird or that you're dramatic and that you're ridiculous, but that's not true. The way you were in that moment, like your headspace, that's why you acted out the way you did. But that isn't necessarily you. And that's why I'm glad I put that at the end. I said, you know what, regardless of what happened, I'm still me. And I don't want to let that incident define me. Okay, that's it for the text messages though. This video isn't the happiest video, but I really hope it gave you guys some insight, I guess. I just really like being honest with you guys on this channel, especially if you guys are going through something similar. And not only that, when I say stuff on camera, it's actually very therapeutic for me because I'm getting things out and I actually feel way better. So again, I apologize for crying on camera. That was not expected. I thought I would just cry like a little bit. I didn't expect me to be like fully breaking down, but I guess that's what happens when you read old stuff and it just triggers past emotions and stuff. Comment anything you want down below, and I promise that in the next video I will be happier, better sound, better camera quality. But anyway guys, I will see you in the next video. Bye.